Hey, welcome back. This is Lone Wolf, and thank you for joining me today. We are playing Vintage Story using version 121, first stable release of 121. Ooh, it's foggy out here today. Oh yeah, fire clay bricks are done cooking. So all of this was in an effort to push to be able to make the beehive kiln, but I looked it up, and here's what it says we need. So the issue is with making the doors. And unfortunately this is a voiceover. Everything went to heck when I was recording it, so voiceover is not a fun thing to do and hard to do well. Okay, so we need a kiln door, and we can make refractory bricks, or we can make a fire clay brick kiln door. But look what it requires. It requires 4 iron rods, and we need nails and strips, 4 of them. And what can they be made out of? They can be made out of iron, meteoric iron, or steel. Well, I don't have any of that, and I don't know where to find it because I haven't looked for it yet. And then if we go back, we have to make these iron hatch doors. We already know from the name what it's made from. And there are 3 of these required, and it takes 4 iron ingots each, or 2 iron plates to make. So my excitement was for a good thing. I don't know why this doesn't show us how to craft the stupid thing. It tells us what we need to make it out of, but what it doesn't do is tell us how to actually build the thing. The handbook's not a perfect thing. There's the iron hatch door there. And again, it's same thing. Anyway, so we are not building a beehive kiln anytime soon. Because we don't have any iron. And we haven't looked for any iron because it's early in the game in this world and there hasn't been a need to do that. So we got the beautiful bricks. Now we can't really use them because we don't have the iron. Let's get the nutrition up here. So we did go and cut down some trees because well, I'm using the Dana Tweaks mod, and there's some things about it I didn't know. And one of the things that was confusing me was I was using my shears on the trees and I was getting sticks, but I wasn't seeing any seeds, which is unusual. And as you just saw in that one chest, I did end up with 4 seeds. But what was weird is as I was chopping the tree down, I don't right away go and collect things. I'm just busy chopping the tree down. And then when I went to collect, I noticed, hey, right next to this tree, I've already planted a seed, which was very puzzled about. And then the next tree I took down, or one of the next trees I took down, there was a seed planted in the ground. So I've had to go in and open up the config files for the Dana Tweaks mod and Oh, I learned all kinds of things in there. So now it will not auto plant my seeds. Farm's looking good. Some of this stuff is ready and some of it's not. Oh, one of the things in the Dana Tweaks mod was that it automatically closed the door on you. And it had a default setting of how long it would take. And then it would close the door automatically. None of which I was interested in. Oh, here's my friend a bowthorn. Oh, two of them. Right inside my little base. And with the stone spears, it takes 3 times to hit them. I used to have a hard time harvesting these guys. Because to me, I harvest on the body, not down here in the groin. And there was somebody that posted a comment on one of my videos that told me, oh, well, if you have to harvest them down there. So I did. And now I get whatever stuff. This is brand new in 121. We get the bone arrows from the bow torns, and you can use them with your bow. They pretty much suck big time. So I don't plan on keeping them. This is very puzzling to me. Here we are. It's the end of July. I planted these berry bushes a long time ago. And not one of them has ever flowered or produced a berry. So to me, this looks like an absolute clear bug in 121. I haven't looked to see if it's been reported, but yeah, it's a problem. Because, I planted them because, I knew I needed fruit. Alright, so let's make some... Oh, that's right. I wanted to make boards because I want to make 2 doors for my little base over here. So that was what caused me to go get the doors. And you notice I placed them on the inside because that's how I wanted them. And you have to place them on the left side first and then the right so that they'll open and close properly. So here, let's try this. Nope, that's the left side, right side. All right, so you can see that it hinges in the middle. Whoa, did you see that change? That is brand new to either a mod that I'm using or to 121. I kind of suspect, watch this closely. Hinges there in the center of the 2 doors. And boop. That is a nice addition. I don't know if that's from a mod. If it is, I don't know which one it's from. I don't have that many mods installed, but that was pretty fascinating to see. And the Dana Tweaks mod also says to drop the vines even though I didn't break them specifically. So that's why I've got a whole bunch of vines now. Now what am I going to do with these fire clay bricks? I think I just need to find a place to put them. Well, wait a minute. There are some things we can do with the fire clay bricks. But we need some clay if we're going to do what I'm thinking of. No, actually we can't use the stones to do what I'm thinking of. We need the fire clay. Alright. Now we're going to do something pretty useful. We're going to make a fire clay oven. And it takes 69 fire clay, so more than a stack. And that's why we've got more than just one stack here. It's a really nice new feature that it shows you how many pieces of clay it takes to build the thing. And I'm going to put an auto mode using Napster and just let it build the thing for me. I like to have 4 of these so that when I'm cooking, I can cook enough things at a time that it doesn't feel like just a huge waste of time standing there waiting for the oven to finish one round and then start another round. But this is all the fire clay I have on me, or put together right now, so we'll have to make some more fire clay if I want to make all 4 of the fire clay ovens. One thing that is unique about the fire clay oven as it pertains to clay forming, which is the act that we are doing right now, we're clay forming. All the things that you clay form need to be fired afterwards, and then that turns it into a ceramics. But not the fire clay oven. There is no cooking involved. Once you are done clay forming it, it's finished. There's no baking, there's no cooking. It's ready to use just as soon as you're done making it. And you can use your pickaxe on these and break them, and they don't get destroyed because, you know, the first times you do this, you go, oh my gosh, I don't want to destroy this thing. And so you're anxious to use the pickaxe on it, but you use the pickaxe on it and you find out, oh, okay, it stays together. And then you can relax. So we've just got the chimney to do now. There we go. And you see how it changed colors. And you can break it without a pickaxe too. So one of the things that the Dana Tweaks mod does that I've never used is it allows you to cook in the oven through using a fire pit below the oven. Let's see, we need more fire clay. Shovel's looking good. We'll go dig some. Now, if you remember last time I went to get clay, I went all the way over here to get it. But actually, I've got fire clay, or red clay, I apologize. Red clay right here at the base. So we're going to dig that up. No need to travel beyond what we have to. I think I've only done voiceover one time, and I'm doing it differently right now than I did the other time, because the software I used before, I just don't remember how I did it, and so I'm just using another piece of software that's nothing but audio. It's called Audacity, so I'm recording the mic there, but as I watch the meter, it looks like maybe it's picking up the game audio too, I don't know. Nevertheless, we'll get it worked out. Get the bad audio stripped out of the video file and make it as good as I can, because right now, the way it is, I literally can't even understand one word that I have said when I'm listening to the microphone recording on this video. But I wasn't going to throw this video away because there's things we do in here that are some good things. And it's something that you need to be part of. This was part of my storytelling on this world, so I definitely didn't want to give up this video. So we got quite a bit of clay here. I think we probably have enough to make another stack of 64 red clay. And that will allow us to almost make another fire clay oven. Oh, no, that's right. It didn't, yeah, it made 8 stacks. That's right. It made 8 stacks of fire clay. It's not like I do this every day. Grab a little dirt to do a little backfill over here. Get my berry bushes planted again. I am highly probable to take out all of this red clay. And I probably will build this whole thing up to the level, this level right here that we're standing on. So we'll raise that portion of the world and go from there. All right, so we got plenty of fire clay. I don't know exactly what I'm doing here. Oh, so I built the roof to overhang on the outside to cover all of the molds that I made, and then I moved the bowls and the cooking pot inside so that I can work with them. If it rains on the molds now and you've got molten metal in there, it'll just crack the mold and ruin it, and you won't have a mold and you'll just have a big mess. So I've got those covered up by extending the roof line out. And then I moved my cooking stuff inside here because this is where I'll be using them. We've still got the pit kilns out there, and we'll still be using the pit kilns for a while because it's going to take a little bit more effort. I mean, we made our tool and we got our resource that we needed to make the tools that we needed to make the fire clay bricks. Pardon me. But then I realized, oh, we were so far away from being able to build the beehive kiln that it's just silly. Sorry, I'm using a brand new microphone headset for me. You can't even begin to guess how much time I have spent trying to get this stuff going. This particular episode, I had run tests, and 10 times in a row, all of my tests, the microphone audio was perfection. And then I feel, okay, let's record our episode here. And if you were to hear the microphone audio, you'd just shake your head, and it's like, you know, how can that be? And yeah, it's horrible. I mean, I can only do so much testing, and when it keeps producing aces, looks like it's ready to go, so great, let's record an episode. So now that's why we're here doing this voiceover. And it's been very puzzling to me because I've had lots of issues with the microphones since I started recording YouTube. Really didn't use microphones before on my computer because just no reason to. But I've used at least 4 different microphones since I started recording videos, and like the last one that I bought, it's a great microphone and it does record awesome, and that would be the Blue Yeti. And when I bought it, I also bought a stand for it, so because I didn't want to use the built-in one, and that was a good choice on my part. And so if you watch the color of the one that I'm building right now, the oven I'm building next to the one that's already completed, you can see the color difference. And then as soon as we finish this one, it's going to change colors and look like you've baked the thing like the one that's already finished. Anyways, my problem with my Blue Yeti, I could not filter out the background sounds that I needed. I could never cut out the air conditioner if it was running, and it was sitting on the same table with my mouse and keyboard, and I have my mouse set on a low DPI because then I can have finer control over it. But then that means that I'm having to pick the mouse up a little off the mat so that it's not moving as I move it, reposition it so I can continue to move it in a direction. And so those pick up and sit downs were actually being picked up in addition to the air conditioner going. It was actually picking that up too. And when the air conditioner was on, it made my voice sound horrible. I mean, it wasn't the end of the world, but nothing about it was the way you might want it. I had another blue microphone. It was the Snowball, and it worked great. And then all of a sudden, it just stopped working, and I couldn't record with it. And then I've purchased 2 Razer headphones, and it took me a very, very long time to come to this conclusion, but and they would record lovely too. However, it's my Razer Black Shark V2 Pro that I was just using, where I tested and 10 times it's perfect, and then I record an episode and it's absolute dog crap. Okay, so something was wrong. Well, what could be wrong? The hardware hasn't changed. Well, my deduction has led me to the following conclusion. It's the Razer software that was causing me problems. If you look online and YouTube and just other places, you'll see that there is tremendous criticism about the Razer Synapse software. In fact, they've recently found that it costs you FPS while you're playing games just because it's loaded. It's a stupid headset driver. It takes up over 1 gigabyte on your hard drive. Now, you know, I got plenty of hard drive space, but it's ridiculous that it takes 1 gigabyte. And then it is literally some of the worst written software that I've ever seen in my life. And so the answer was I had to get rid of the Razer hardware, because if I didn't have Synapse installed, I could not use my microphone. I could hear with the headphones, but I could not use my microphone, so I had to have it installed. So here I am. I literally spent 20 hours over the course of 2 days beating my brains out over this. So what we're looking at right now is I've got cassiterite, which means I can make tin bronze with it, which is what is required in order to mine the iron. And iron is what I'm getting ready to go try to see if we can find. I've grabbed my prospecting pick, and I just was looking at, okay, if I got, what else am I going to need in order to get the iron? And so I've got the cassiterite, which is tin, combine that with copper, and then you have tin bronze. So I have the ability to make the tools that I need to mine the iron. So now we're heading out, and I'm looking for iron. And we're going to do that through using the prospecting pick. And the way that I do this before I ever start getting prospecting readings, I gather up like a stack of dirt so that as I'm doing this, I can get back out of the hole, because I'm going to dig a hole straight down, and then I'm going to take 4 readings with it, and then somehow I have to get back out of that hole. And so that's why I'm collecting dirt, because that I can use to pile on myself up and get out of the hole. So now we're going to go back and we're going to do our first test. But before we do that, we've got to dig down far enough to where I can take my samples, because it has to be in the rock. You can't get a sample from dirt. And the samples have to be more than 3 blocks apart, so 4 works. So here I've just taken out 3 blocks. I'm going to take out 3 blocks this way, and I'm going to take out 3 blocks this way. Now that 4th block, I'm going to break with the prospecting pick to get a reading with. And I'm going to do that in all 3 of the directions, because I only need 3 readings. And they are all far enough apart to where I'm going to get 3 valid readings. So we've got the chat opened into the info log, and I'm using the menu, the mode selection on the Pro Pick to make sure that I'm in density search mode, because I want a long distance. There's 2 modes, there's node search and there's density search. We need density search because we're trying to find out if there's any, well, what is in this 32 block chunk column. And so we got our reading, and in this case it was a pretty useless hole, very poor native copper, 3.28 parts per mil. You look up what parts per mil it means, but it helps you have an idea of, if I find copper here, how much of this chunk block is copper. So the wording, very poor, tells you the likelihood of finding what it says it found in that chunk block. So it tells you that, hey, you could possibly find copper here. And right now, I'm looking here, I got to dig down farther because I have all of this sand above these rocks. And if I break the rocks, the sand's going to come down, it's going to clobber me and even do some damage to me. So I have to dig down a little bit further. Now I theoretically, and I'm hoping that I'm down far enough to not get sand or gravel that would fall in and fill the hole. So that first label tells you about does this 32 by 32 chunk column, what does it contain? And then the next part is, if you find it, how much of this 32 by 32 chunk column, how much of it would be copper? That's my best understanding. Anybody want to correct me? By all means, go right ahead. I do not claim to be an authority on this, but I do know how to use it. So they've added in vanilla now, they put waypoints on the map to show you your prospecting readings. We used to have to use a mod to record all that stuff, but I'm very grateful for, have added that to the vanilla game. It just makes life nicer. We either had to take notes by hand somewhere in a text editor or whatever to record all that stuff, and then you had to look for it by hand, whereas the mod put a waypoint on the map just like we're seeing with vanilla now, and it records all the information that it found, and all you have to do is mouse over that waypoint and you'll know what was there. So here we found something different. We found only minuscule amounts of bismuthinite, which is an ore that's used to make bronze, And once again, we found copper, but it's even less than very poor. It's just minuscule amounts. That tells you that it is somewhere in a 32 by 32 by however tall column chunk. Column chunk goes from bedrock up to the surface. Well, no, it actually goes up to world height. I shouldn't say it, but there's not going to be any materials in the air. It's just air. So what have I chosen to do to fix my recording issue? What I did was I bought another headset. I actually was thinking about going and buying a Rhodes desktop microphone, and it talked about the sound and how it isolated it so that it didn't pick up, the mouse or the keyboard and all that. And then I just realized, you know what? I really did enjoy having a wireless headset, which I've never tried before, but I really, really enjoyed it. So I ended up buying a wireless headset. I have had only minuscule amounts of experience with the following brand, Steel Series. I tried one of their keyboards before, and it was really expensive, but in my opinion, it's the best keyboard I've ever laid my hands on. So I ended up buying their Arctic Nova Pro, I think that's what its name is. Whatever it is, it's their top of the line wireless. The one that I bought will connect to PlayStation via Bluetooth or to my PC because it has a built-in transceiver at 2.4 megahertz or gigahertz, I mean. But it came with this device I wasn't expecting. Anyways, that's what I'm using. It was a very large amount. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. Oh my gosh, fall in a hole. I am so lucky I did not die just then. Anyways, it was very expensive. If it was the first microphone, that'd been one thing, but it was the fifth one that I've bought. So I've spent a small fortune on microphones, and I'm really sick of it. And my testing with the Steel Series has been excellent. I've had nothing but wonderful experience with it. I don't pick up the air conditioner. I don't pick up me moving the mouse. I don't pick up anything except my voice, and it's crystal clear. So I am as happy with it as I can be right now. Do I think I solved my problem? And if I do think I solved my problem, why do I think I solved my problem? Again, it has to do with running the stupid Razer software. That stuff is crap. It is a horrible thing to put on your computer. There are alternatives to it, but not necessarily for the microphone as far as I know. But if you want their software to control the RGB on your mouse or keyboard or whatever, dude, there are alternatives you can use. You don't have to put that on. But in order for me to get my microphone to work, my little small testing told me I had to have their software on in order to use the microphone. Oh, thank goodness we got out of there. So let me look at the box so I can give you the exact correct name. I'm telling you about it. I may as well tell you the actual name. Yes, it is the Arctis Nova Pro Wireless. Right now, it's the top of the line that they make. And the one I have works with PC and PlayStation 4 and 5. Enough about that nonsense. We're voice-overing. You're getting a completely different conversation than if we got the one that I had recorded. But actually, I need to point out, look at the screen. We actually did get a reading for magnetite, which is iron. It's very poor reading that we got. and there's very little of it. If we did find it in that column chunk, there would be hardly any. But this is how prospecting works. You get a reading for what you're looking for, and then you go in one direction and see if it goes higher or lower. It can't go lower than this very much. And you keep chasing it until you find the place that has the highest reading of what you're looking for. And sometimes it's going to be a good enough reading, and sometimes it's not going to be a good enough reading. And even though it's detecting, your chances of finding it will vary. So I really wouldn't waste my time on anything other than the label saying decent. Anything below decent, no, I'm not going to chase. It's of course better if it says high or very high, but I just if it only says decent or less, forget it. I'm not going to waste my time, because you can see I'm going in roughly a straight line, and we did get a reading again on the magnetite, which once again is iron, and it's about twice the volume that it would be if you found it, but it's still labeled as very poor. I'm not going to chase that. We got to have a much better label than that. So I'm basically continuing going down a straight line, and here we find a cave. So a cave is an ideal place for taking prospecting readings, because there's nothing that's going to fall down on top of you unless you pick a poor block. Now that says I still need 2 more samples. To me, my count was that I've moved 4 blocks, but whatever. We'll take 1 more reading. Okay, so now we've gone up. We've gone from very poor to now just poor. So this is awesome. And you can see that we've found a new ore called sphalerite, which is the official name for zinc. Zinc is, the word that we know that ore by, but sphalerite is its real name. And we use zinc in creating different things. And it is definitely of value. But it's definitely not as high a value to me as would be iron or cassiterite. The zinc is great, and I will definitely mine it when I find it, but I don't normally go out of my way to search for it. One of the mods I'm using is called Auto Loot Reborn or something. I don't know what it's called, but the original Auto Loot mod hasn't been updated by its original author, and so somebody came along and revived the project. The original author said, hey, I don't have time. If you want to take this up, please do. So it's not that he didn't have permission from the author, because he did. And I'm grateful that he did it, because that means I got these things and it automatically just puts the stuff in my inventory, and I don't have to sit there and click on each item to get it into my inventory. Whoa, 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 whoa. I've played the game long enough that I know exactly what that is, and that is cassiterite. We were just talking about that. When we were at base before I left, I checked to see what I had by way of cassiterite, which is, we would just call it tin, but its scientific name, I guess, is cassiterite. And that's what we use to make tin bronze with. We combine it with copper. And to find this early game, man, this is absolutely fantastic. So it tells us that it requires at least a copper pickaxe to mine this out with, and it refers to that as a tier 2 tool. Well, there's no such thing as a tier 1 pickaxe because that would be made of stone, and you can't make, not in Vintage Story, you cannot make a stone pickaxe. So if copper's 2, then bronze is going to be 3, iron is going to be 4, and steel is going to be tier 5. Each one of them just means it's the better, that it's quality of 5 if we're comparing them to each other. So we have quality 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 referred to as tier. And there's more to tiers than what I'm going to talk about. If you want to learn more about tiers and what all the implications are, you can go to the Vintage Story Wiki and read all about it. But we're not going to cover that here. This is actually a really nice size deposit for tin. Oftentimes when you find tin, there's just not really that many pieces. But we've got a very nice size tin deposit here. Pardon me. So we're just going to mine it out. When I find a deposit like this, I mine the whole thing out. I know it's not going to be so large that I can't take it, and if I don't have room for it, I'm going to be throwing other things away because this is more valuable than any stones that I have, or so many things. This is way more valuable than them, so I will throw things away in my inventory that I was planning on keeping, but I will take absolutely every piece of tin or iron or copper or whatever the metal is, whatever the ore is that I'm mining. They take priority over the rest of what I have, obviously with exceptions. I'm not going to throw away a temporal gear, and I'm not going to throw away a rusty gear for, just a little bit of stuff. I might throw rusty gear away for a bunch of good things, though. But that would not be, I would have made decisions on absolutely everything else before I ever thought of getting rid of a rusty gear. Hello, Drifter. My current impression is that the quantity of mob spawning has been reduced, and I will tell you that it needed to be reduced. There were far too many mobs spawning in 120. One of my Vintage Story heroes, and he doesn't even know who I am. His name is GG Beyond, or his YouTube name is GG Beyond. And man, I've learned so many things watching him too. So I've mentioned Ashantin, GG Beyond is one, Paul Soares Jr., Kurazar. There have been a number of players that have inspired me, and he's one of them. Anyways, he was playing 120, and he likes to do things in wilderness survival, which you'd probably call it hard mode in Vintage Story. Yeah, I'm not going to go down there. Oh, I see we got drifters falling down. Oh, good. He went all the way down, so we're not going to have to cope with him. But it's time for me to get out of here. I'm ready to go. So now we're going to follow my stairway that I dug to come down here. Get the spear in the hand and take out the bowtorn. I very much... I think the mob that I fear the least is the bowtorn. However, in their more advanced versions of themselves, they become very nasty. And the shivers become even more nasty than the bowtorns. And I say that about the shearers because of, as I mentioned, the speed at which they move. They jump over your head, so you've got to try to spin around and figure out where the darn thing went. All right, so I'm going to put a waypoint here at the entrance of this cave because I'm going to want to come back here. This cave looks like it's worth returning to. You can see that our most recent prospecting, just below the label for the entrance, is yellow. That's because we got higher readings. Now, the way that I put that cave entrance waypoint up there is again through using the macros, and here's the macro that I have. I use Alt-T, and you can see the command that I use. This is what you would type into chat, and it would make this exact waypoint, and it would place it exactly where you're standing. So you can take a command, any command that you could put in the game, and you can make a put it into a macro, so you don't have to type that out all the time. Somebody threw a rock at me, or did I throw a rock? I don't know. I think it was probably me that threw the rock, though I wouldn't have meant to. All right, well, we are pretty much done with this episode. I apologize, I had to make a voiceover. I think the original was probably better, but who knows. I absolutely want to thank you for choosing to spend your time to watch this, and it's an honor that you do that. It's an honor to me, for me, that you would be willing to do that. I love making these because I love this game and I love sharing it with others. I hope more people will find out about it and play it. But as is, please consider subscribing, clicking on that like button, and posting a comment. But most importantly, to come watch the next episode, won't you? Thank you very much, and goodbye.